Good evening from Angel's Haven, everybody. I am looking at you through a mirror in my writing loft, and I'm going to film a little bit up here and talk about something really important to remember when you're going tiny. You hear the sound of my washer-dryer unit in the background. I hope it won't interfere too much with this video. So, someone said to me today, when you go tiny, do you keep with you the things that you love? And sitting up here in my writing loft this evening, I thought about that, and the answer to that question is yes. If you're doing the process of going tiny, you do remember to keep with you the things you love. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's in my writing loft and part of why it was important to me to have a writing loft. Not just because I'm a writer, but because I am a person that likes to have things around her that have meaning. So I'm going to start over here. Here you see a picture taken, and I'm going to get really close because it doesn't have non-glare glass on it. This picture was taken at a gathering of my brothers and their friends. I am in this picture. I don't know if you can see it. I think I'm about maybe 21 or 22 in this picture. So that's one thing. On my maple table, I have a picture of my great-grandmother, Corrine, and her husband. I believe that was taken on their honeymoon. I have one of the two puzzle boxes that a client and friend from Japan gave me. I have the Chicago coasters that my son sent me from Chicago. A little tile coaster made by my stepson, Mac. Moving over here, I have a beautiful vase that Glenn Stewart gave me for a going away present, and in it is a silk rose that my son bought me in Disney World when he was 5 years old, 5 or 6. Here we have a picture of 3 pictures in a frame. Maher and Patrick on the right, Patrick in the middle, and Patrick with Chris and Katie Taggart on the left. We have a picture of my mother and father taken at my brother Kevin's wedding, I think. A music box, which is a replica of one that my mother had. A picture of the Corley and Orso cousins. Behind it is my son's baptismal candle. This bookshelf was made by my great-grandfather for my sisters Anne and Adrian. My sister Adrian gave it to my son, and eventually, if he wants it, it's here. On it, there are books which mean a lot to me. Some because they're wonderful books, some because they were my mother's or my father's. And I wanted to keep all of these. This is pretty much all the books I kept, and I had an enormous number of books, as did my son. I donated what I didn't keep to the public library. On this wall, we have a picture drawn of my son and myself at a street festival in Minnesota the year we went up to the Mayo Clinic. This footstool belonged to Corrine, my great-grandmother. Over here on this bookshelf, of course, that's one of my 2 Nicole Thibodeau plein airs. On the top of the bookshelf is a pottery box that my friend Ellen White made. The glass angel you see is Italian glass. I can't remember where I got it. I was with either my mother or my son, maybe, at I don't know what end of my life, but at one of the two ends of my life, or beginning and middle maybe, at a flea market or junk store. Here we have a picture of my beloved in-laws. Penny Themey took this picture. Jay McLaughlin and Joanna McLaughlin. That coffee canister was my mother's. As you can see, it has a replacement lid, which is a piece of wood with a doorknob on it. My father made that. On this shelf, this is, I think, my mother's 8th grade graduation picture, and the vase that sat on my mother's bedside table during her last illness. At the bottom I have a Russian doll set. Someone who shall go unnamed, who used to house sit for me, would take that apart, and the very teeniest tiny doll inside of it is missing half of it. I think I had it for a while when I moved, but I only ended up with one half of it. The two plates are just things that I've collected. Actually, I think the plate on the left, which is a glass dish, might have been one of two. There's a story behind that doesn't bear repeating. There is my brother Stephen's high school graduation. On the top shelf of that little wooden 3-tiered shelf, on the left, the thing in the middle is just my Bluetooth speaker, but on the left is a little tiny rain stick that my son got at the Renaissance Festival. Again, it's something he can have if he wants it. It's here. On the right is actually a wooden butter press belonging to my mother. I used to have two. I don't know what happened to the other one. On the middle shelf, that might be a Sisters or Special. Those two little pictures on the middle shelf, I can't read them from here. One was given to me by Tracy Brady and one was given to me by Joyce Corley. I can't remember which is which, and I can't see from here. The bell in the middle was given to me by Katrina Taggart. The picture behind that, I got it Free Art Friday. I can't remember the artist, but I picked it because it's a little house, a tiny house. On the bottom shelf, the music box was given to me when I was a little girl by my grandmother Corley. The dish on the right on that shelf belonged to my mother-in-law, Joanna McLaughlin. The angel behind that is a card, and I think it might be from Andrea Sununu, who it was Professor Sununu, who was Patrick's advisor at DePaul and with whom I've stayed in contact. On my angel shelf, there are some angels which I've collected, some which were gifts, and some which were family angels. The angel music box on my desk was given to me by Jeannie Sarah. Above the window are digital images done by Patrick on the left and right. In the middle is something he did in grade school. I think it's his name, where they take the letter, each letter of their name, and make a word. I think his are like patient. I know one is kind, one is, I don't know what Patrick spells out. I can't read it from here, but that he did that. You see the picture of Patrick and myself, and that was taken by Penny Themey. She said, act like Corleys. Well, as you can see, we're definitely acting like Corleys. I'm going to move this. I'm going to pause so you don't hear this noise while I move this chair. Hold on. Under my desk is a little cabinet which belonged to Kara McLaughlin, my stepdaughter, when I was married. I'm not really sure why I have it, but I love it. I have used it in different ways. It's actually there right now just because I'm not sure where to put it, and I've just put it under there to make sure it stays safe. But I really like it, so I'll figure a place for it. And my desk, I should mention, I bought at the DAV thrift store on Warnell Road in Kansas City. You might be able to tell that it has, it has leaves. See, if you see the hinges, that you can see one of the hinges. Those two leaves open up to the right and left. I had it opened at my house in Kansas City, but it doesn't really work open. In the middle of that desk, there's a hole cut out, but there's a piece of marble fitted into the hole. I think this desk must have been handmade by someone, maybe to be a drill press, or to hold a drill press or some tool, and then they made the marble piece to fit in it to use it as a desk. I want you all to know I paid $5 for that desk. I love it. The fact that I don't want to say this and sound sexist, but some dad made that desk and shop. It might have been a mom, it might have been a kid, it might have been a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, but in my mind it was somebody's dad, or somebody's grandpa. So the reason I'm making this video really is to tell you all, and of course there's Genevieve Casey's photograph and Samantha Besson's photograph. On the top is Genevieve, on the bottom is Samantha, two photographers in Kansas City who showed at Suite 100 and with whom I became friends and whom I admire greatly. So, hi, there I am in the mirror again. And the reason I'm making this video is to answer the question that was asked to me. When you go tiny, do you have to give up the things that you love? And while there are people who are more minimalist than I am, and while I can tell you that I gave up boxes and boxes and boxes of things, I always had a cubby at my house which had things in it that I loved. In the Holmes house, it was the breakfast nook. We called it Corinne's Grotto. And here, it's my writing loft. I do my work here. I listen to the birds sing. I watch the sunrise. I rock. I'm sitting in the rocking chair that Cherry Meyer gave me. And I'm surrounded by the things I love. Going tiny does not require you to adopt someone else's idea of what your lifestyle should be. You can live the way you want to live, surrounded by the things that you love. So that's something you should keep in mind when you go tiny. And I hope that seeing the things that I love in my writing loft gives you some ideas about how to incorporate the things you love in your tiny space. Thanks for spending a moment of my tiny life with me, and I will see you next time.